This morning I'd like to begin with 3 stories about 3 children, all of whom are in trouble. One is middle class, one is working class, and one is upper class. At a conference recently, a minister friend told me a horrifying story about his young adult son. It seems that the son is addicted to video games. He's in his early 20s, and for a couple of years, he has spent all of his time in a virtual world with virtual people trying to accomplish virtual feats of honor and glory. He has become grossly obese, and his health was in danger. His parents told him that he could return home on 2 conditions. First, that he would look for a job, and secondly, that he would give up his computer. For months, he refused. He just could not give up his computer or his games. Then he finally decided that he would. He's back at home now, and he is in recovery from this addiction. Story number 2. These are the words of a 12-year-old African-American girl who had been bused to a previously all-white school in Boston. This is what she was recorded as saying. I guess I'm doing all right. A lot of time, though, I wish I could walk out of that school and find myself a place where there are no whites, no black folk, no people of any kind. I mean, a place where I'd be able to sit still and get my head together. A place where I could walk, and I'd be walking on grass, not cement, with glass and garbage around. A place where there'd be the sky and the sun and then the moon and all those stars. At night, sometimes I get to feeling real low. I'll climb up on the stairs to our roof, and I'll look at the sky, and I'll say, "Hello there, you moon and all your babies," stars I mean. I'm being silly, I know, but up there, I feel I can stop and think about what's happening to me. It's the only place I can. The only place. There are children who live in San Francisco who have never seen the ocean. There are children who live in Atlanta who have never seen a live chicken or a cow. Our 3rd story. This one is a composite of children I've read about in the New York Times. They are 9-year-olds who have decorators come into their home to discuss the decor of their bedroom. This is true. They are 1st graders who have birthday parties that cost $25,000. They are middle school girls, this was the most recent article that I read, who have their own hairdressers, and they insist on having their hair colored and streaked as their mother does. Now, these children are all deprived in one way or another. All 3 are living in a culture whose values are corrupt. The first is connected not to people, but to a machine, to his computer. The second is living in a world of concrete and steel and trash and garbage. And the third is being taught a terrible lie that happiness comes through things and more things rather than a giving of one's self. Not one of these children is connected to the natural world, and not one understands the rhythms of nature or their relationship to the earth. And they are all suffering from the economic disparity in this country. Even the wealthy child? Yes, because indulging a child is just as bad as depriving a child in terms of character development and sense of self. So, what is it that children really require of us? Well, I think that they require 3 things. First of all, to feel safe. Second, to feel loved. And third, to feel hope. Now, children get these qualities from positive contact with stable, loving adults. Most important of all is consistent, positive contact with a primary caretaker, especially in the first 18 months of life. Now, we know what happens at the outward margins of neglect. We note the responses of foster children who are moved from home to home because they are difficult. They have trouble trusting others, and they often have deficits in language and social skills due to early patterns of neglect or abuse. But it's not just the neglected or abused child who is in trouble. The consensus of child development experts today is that perhaps the majority of our children are not getting the kind of care that they need in order to grow into healthy adults, emotionally and psychologically secure and sound. Now, these researchers are pointing to a troubling shift that's taken place since the 70s in ordinary child-rearing patterns. Since then, there has been a huge increase in the number of families whose babies and young children are being kept in daycare. The most comprehensive studies that we have, and many of them we do have, show that the quality of daycare in the vast majority of centers is not of high quality. In fact, 85% was found to be not of high quality for preschool children, and over 90% for infants and toddlers was not of high quality. Child care workers are not paid well, are often not highly motivated, and the turnover is very high. And so children in such centers have very little continuity of care. And even when children are cared for at home, there has been a shift towards impersonal care. A report from Kaiser Foundation revealed that children are spending an average of 5 to 6 hours a day in front of the television or computer screen. 5 or 6 hours a day. Alarming numbers of elementary school children and even preschoolers are being put on medication so that their caretakers and teachers can deal with their acting out behavior. So what is going on here? Should we lay all this to the wicked women's movement? Some people would like to. Took women out of the home and ushered them into the workplace. Now, I don't believe that we can deny women the right to become whole persons in the world, but neither can we deny the nurturing needs of our children. It seems to me that our national policies have given priority to the economy and have neglected some basic needs of developing children, and so a new balance needs to be found. Both parents should be able to share in the nurturing of children. Or if one parent wishes to be the primary caretaker, well, so be it, or they can trade off or whatever. But right now, work demands, business practices, and government policy all are on the side of the economic machine and not of the developing child. There is no other advanced country in the world that takes into account so little the needs of children through maternity and paternity leave, on-the-job child care centers, and flexible work hours for parents.